Ladies and gentlemen, we will go ahead and call our September 15th Board of Education meeting to order. Mr. Johnson, would you mind opening us with prayer this evening?
John, do you want me to pray? Gracious Heavenly Father, we thank you for this beautiful day. Thank you for the cool nights we've had and the warm days. Touch of fall has been nice, and we appreciate it. We thank you. We ask that you be with us tonight as we consider all these matters that are before us. Give us wisdom and courage in our convictions, and help us to do the best we can with children and teachers and all administrators and all county schools. Love and pray in Jesus' name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, I want to thank everyone for being here with us this evening. I believe that we have a letter of commendation.
I'm going to let our student come up in just a minute because we'd all rather hear from her than from me. But our commendation for tonight goes to Nell Haga. Did I do okay? Haga. We worked on this. Right. We're recognizing Nell tonight for her dedication and participation in the walking school bus program at Fairhope West and East Elementary. Nell walked to school every day from kindergarten to 6th grade. In rain, cold weather, you name it. She now attends Fairhope Middle, where she hopes to get involved in something like this again. Her brother is also following in her footsteps. But Nell, we're going to ask you to come up, and you've got to tell them how much fun it was walking in the cold. Okay, go ahead. Don't be nervous. So tell everybody, you have lots of stories. Tell everybody why it's so important for you.
So the reason why it's so important to me is because it helps bring people together and it helps me socialize more, and it definitely gets my steps in every single day. And I want to thank Miss Charlene for founding it and looking out for all the kids in the walking school bus.
I was about to say, when you moved to Fairhope, it helped you create a lot of friendships, right?
Yes, it did. And I realized this year that one of my best friends was actually on the walking school bus, and I never knew that, and it just brought us together even more. So that was amazing as well.
So you have to tell us about the worst day walking. Was it cold? Was it raining? What was going on?
I want to say it was probably, I'm not sure when though, probably one of the colder days, because I barely have any gloves, so my fingers would feel like they're about to freeze off.
So we need to talk to Mom and Dad about that. We'll talk to them. But we're going to let Mr. Tyler come down and Mr. Christenberry to take a picture with you. And congratulations.
Thank you.
Do you miss it now that you're in middle school?
Yes, I do.
Yeah?
We try our best to walk every day, though.
But little brother's going to be next, right? All right. I'm going to give it this to you. Stand right there in the middle. Miss Charlene, you want to get up there? Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Good job. Can I say one word? Yes. Go ahead, it's on. Okay.
Just one. I heard that. Just one. He must know me. What I really want to say is thank you to the school system and the Board of Education and the people that allowed us to partner with them to create a walking school bus. And I'm so proud of Baldwin County School System to have the only daily walking school bus in the state of Alabama. And I do feel like these kids get to school and they're better prepared to step in that classroom and sit down and learn because they've gotten a lot of energy out on the way to school. They've had fun. They've gotten energy out. They're in a way better mental frame of mind to step into a school system and be attuned to the learning that we hope is occurring in the school day. So my hope is that this program grows and that we have more walking school buses or just more ways that the schools really encourage a safe route to school so that kids can do what I did without parents all my life and never thought, it was not unusual. We walked and biked and nobody was with us, but it was a different world back then. And we realized today, unless you figure out a way to make it safe, most parents are not comfortable with their kids. They want to know that their child has a safe route to school. So I see that that's coming because this school system is incredible, and I'm watching all kinds of things that are being done. And I'm just proud of y'all. Thank you for letting me be a part of it.
Thank you again to Nell and her parents for coming tonight. Now I'd like to recognize our school board members with some AASB certificates. The school board members who have met the required training hours of the School Board Governance Improvement Act during the 2021-2022 academic year. And we have to take a picture because they said to use a hashtag. So, Ms. Cawley, Mr. Christenberry, Ms. Dawson, Mr. Johnson, and Mr. Myrick. You ready? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Thank you.
Mr. Warren just hasn't been with us long enough.
Okay, Board, we have minutes from our our August 16th regular meeting and our August 30th special board meeting. If I could please have a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion to approve. Second.
Great, I have a motion by Mrs. Dawson and a second by Mr. Myrick. Are there any questions or comments about the minutes? Right, then all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Great. We do have 2 speakers that have signed up to speak to us tonight. Dr. Liu is our first speaker, and you know how it all works. Well, and we don't have our timers up, so we'll.
So I have to trust you to give me my 3 minutes.
I'll.
Okay.
When you.
We got an arm timer
We're
in the back.
good. We're good.
There. Okay. Dr. Lou Campanosi, Common Sense Campaign. First of all, I want to, say I'm glad I saw that little ceremony today. That's really good. Nice to see things like that happening. Let me frame this along the lines of told Cecil that we had a very positive discussion. Jackie Ziegler and I came and met with Dr. Carter. We had a good understanding of the problems that she's facing. Problems that I've addressed to you all before. We've had seven schools with, in the teens with math proficiency. And that was really the focus of our discussion, was try to figure out how we can help with that particular thing. I know ELA is another thing, but my focus at that time was math. The fact of the matter is, I think that from what Dr. Carter said, she's got the path before her, and I think she's going to be able to do it, particularly if she gets the support she needs from, the board and the resources that are necessary. And I think that that's something we can do. It's already noted that your latest ACAP scores, you're kind of flat with ELA, but the math was improved to, I think, almost 40% from, what was it, 32 last time. So that's an improvement. Now, here again, this is where the question of resources going forward to try to deal with the real problem that you had. Now, I understand with the Numeracy Act, you're going to get some more support and all like that. Notice, though, in our discussion, that we still maintain it's Common Core math that's driving the train in terms of why you're having so many problems, okay? You say, well, we don't have Common Core math. Well, the governor said she eradicated it, and then the Numeracy Act says we have to get rid of it. So, I mean, what is it? And my argument here is that when you start looking at a go back to the basics approach, which we had discussed, it makes a whole lot of sense. There are other school systems that have adopted that, and they're doing both things at the same time. Giving those students the opportunity to learn something and then try the basic side of it, call it go to the moon math, and at the same time trying to work through the complications of what is developmentally in the wrong space, in my view, and along with the people that we've been talking to. So I think that's a good step in the right direction of where we're going, and we're here to kind of support that. What I will not support, though, is the continuation of trying to press forward with various property tax increases so that these municipalities have to bear the burden of what is essentially the responsibility of the board and the school system to take care of these things. I mean, why should Robertsdale be responsible for going, now in 2016 they had about a 10% math, now they're at 34 last time. That's our responsibility here, not there to get $700,000 out of a property tax increase, which really doesn't really address the needs of that school system to bring itself up. And I just find it, I mean, we just lost the last one for Daphne, despite the fact that all the Daphne politicians in 2020 said they weren't going to support it. Nevertheless, they did. Okay, be that as it may, that's just a different issue. But like I said, I'm really positive about our discussion. We also talked to Jackie Ziegler about addressing some of the issues that Dr. Carter has in terms of having to have scores counted for by students who really can't speak English. I mean, that is just something that obviously needs to be sorted out. The state should have been doing this a long time ago, but we will do our best to try to work in that direction. So thank you all very much.
Thank you, Dr. Liu. Appreciate that. Thank you.
Well, and I appreciate you bringing Ms. Ziegler and allowing her to come also and hear the information. Sometimes there seems to be a little bit of a disconnect with the State Board of Education and the local system. So I really appreciate you bringing her along as well. All right, our second speaker is Augustine Stevens. And Mr. Stevens, since we don't have that timer on the TV Oh, it is there. I'm sorry, I was looking at the one on the wall. My apologies. Never mind.
Okay, I'm Augustine Stevens. I'm here. I'm concerned in the Vaughn School. I've been concerned in practically all my life. I walk around there every day, mostly. But few years ago, me and my pastor wrote a letter trying to get it for the church and the community, and for Patrick Pantry. And now it's up for sale, and I'm trying to get it for my family. Only these, they got E.D. Stevens, that's my Uncle Ezel. George Stevens, that's my great-granddaddy. And I sent a letter in, and I ain't heard no response, but I just don't know what's going on. And I feel that it is a need for the community to have something. And like Patrick Pantry there, and maybe, some other people, some other places can come and, and do, in the community. And I feel that it is a need for, we have a center like that. And so in my family, I don't know how y'all gonna do it, gonna split it up, or just let somebody have it for the community center. But I feel that we can do a good job for the whole community if we could get it and do something for for the community. And we've been talking, and one thing will hurt the family is, let somebody else get it. I'm not talking about y'all gonna take everything and auction it off. Bid it, whatever. I guess that's okay, but like I was saying at the meeting 2 months ago, we had James William guy up, and he's been with that bidding for so many years. I've really then seen that it wasn't doing nothing to help the community. Most likely it was a personal thing. And so my brothers and sisters, nieces and nephews, and we don't know what, but if y'all if you have a price to pay, we willing to pay the price. But whatever y'all want to do with it, I hope y'all consider my family. I got nieces and nephews live all around the school, because that was that one thing, property. And they say they're going to let there were 2 guys up there that say they're going to let them speak for the Stevens family. Nobody contacted none of my nieces, nephews, or brothers and sisters, but they both speak for the Stevens family. But I'm here speaking for the Stevens family. And George Stevens, my brother had a granddaughter, had a baby. And we're going to go on. I got all our family down. And that name was wrote on the book. That I know who I am. And I got all my family name now, so, and I'm just trying to say, let me know what I can do, what my family can do.
We interjected on this deal. We talked about this with Mr. Stevens.
I was going to let Mr. Stevens finish, and then I was going to ask the superintendent or staff what we've been able to find out since the last time this
Well,
came
I
up.
don't know if the law's changed, has it? Where you have to bid it.
We're working through some creative solutions, and I'm happy to talk through some of the latest conversations.
If there's any way for them to get it, I'd love to see that happen.
Yeah.
But also, Ellisville is on the agenda item tonight.
Right. And that it may not be, for public discussion, but I think, we're trying to.
We are making progress. We've talked to several people on some possibilities. I do think that, we're locked in with the bid law and where, we can sometimes negotiate with interagencies and governmental entities.
Yeah.
And we're looking into whether there might be some governmental entities that are willing to work through an arrangement where it could be a community center. We just don't know that if that's where everybody is yet.
That's not a problem if that can be done, but did you research that on Ellisville?
Which
That option? That's the one that's on the table tonight.
we don't have the ability to just sell to a private person without going through the bid
Well,
law. So yes.
the bid was won by
Right.
Ellis. Mr. Ellis wanted it. They wanted to do it for the community center, and then they were gonna have after-school tutoring and stuff like that. But this is the same situation like with Mr. Stevens. Now, the way I understand it with you wasn't included with Mr. Williams in that group, were you?
No, I wasn't.
See, you would have thought it would have reached out to the community. Well, Mr. Ellis has tried to do that. He was in the school system for years. His mother worked in the school system for years. Great people. And I wouldn't have a problem if there was a way to give it to them, if it can be done. But I'm just saying, I know the law.
There's not a way to just gift it.
Yeah.
And even in the arrangement we're talking through right now, there is voluntary. So
There's
we're working through
consideration.
win-win for both parties if we can get them to, because there is interest in it, you know, on the, I'll just say on the county commission level, and they have some money that they could go into on like a shelter type basis, but look at being used as a community center and repurposing. So we're working through those options to try to come with a win-win that still is compliant with the law.
Yeah. The only thing is, you know, I don't want that situation up there to trump this Ellisville deal, you know, because they're having to buy it.
Yeah.
And so that would be the same up there, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
Well, like Mr. Stevens, he said, you know, if they have to buy it, they'd be willing to buy it.
Yes, we will.
And, you know, I think it's fair game. If there's some way to work it out, you know, where they could get it back, not with the county commission. But that's just my opinion.
I think the only risk with doing that is we'd have to do it via bid.
Via bid like you did Ellisville.
That's right.
Right.
Like you did Ellisville.
And it could be some other investor, and so we're.
Yeah, if it's not.
And I think-
Then it's open up to an auction type bid type thing, which.
Can't control any of that, even with agreements and working.
I mean,
You know, where
Edwards
the-
ended up at Stockton.
That's on law.
I meant Bond, yeah,
I don't know, 6 or 7 acres.
6 or 7, not like it was in Ellisville.
Yeah.
I know that Ellisville, I think the church bought 2 or 3 acres by the,
And then it went farther south,
yeah.
a little section behind the school.
No, I just know that with Ellisville and with Bond, they've done so much for the school system.
I agree.
You know, but I know the laws are the law.
I would in a second, but, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I know the laws are the
We're
law.
trying to come up with
Well,
creative
and I
solutions
think
to
too,
try to
though,
serve
we can probably discuss this a little bit more when we get to this agenda item. I don't want Mr. Stevens to feel awkward standing up here in front of us. I appreciate you letting us have that conversation back and forth while you were standing up there. Did you get a chance to finish your thoughts? I didn't want to just dismiss.
Okay, but I really like to know what's going on and what can I do to contribute, you know, I mean, thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. We will.
Thank you, Mr. Stevens.
Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Stevens. Right, that was everybody, unless somebody came in late and didn't get an opportunity to sign in. Then I think we're good, Mr. Superintendent.
Yes, ma'am. Amendments to the agenda. Amend number 15, leave of absence of personnel. Number 16, retirement and resignation of personnel. Number 17, transfer, intent to transfer of personnel. Number 19, employment of personnel. Number 20, extra work for extended periods. Add number 21, administrative appointment.
I have a motion by Mr. Christenberry and a second by Mrs. Dawson. Are there any questions or discussion? All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passed.
Agenda item 1, FY 2023 Baldwin County Board of Education budget approval. Superintendent recommends adoption of a motion to approve the district-wide budget for fiscal year 2023 in order to meet the specific requirements set within the Code of Alabama as stipulated in the agenda exhibit.
So move.
Motion by Mr. Christenberry and a second by Mr. Johnson. Is there any discussion? John, as always, I know, don't get excited.
We've enjoyed 2 budget hearings. Good
Never-
job. I don't know if
never a
this
dull
pertains
moment.
to the budget or whatever, but I was talking with counselor about the chops that were bought through transportation. The chops? Yes, to put under the bus to check for brake checks. And those are for campers, they're not for buses. I saw it in the parking lot that's crushed. It's supposed to be like this tall. And it's really small. They're not for buses. And the sticker on it, which it was not a sticker on this one, but I went and looked and I found it, got it from Amazon, and they're like $10 a piece or something like that. They got one on each bus after I found out what was going on. So you'll have a bus here and there that has the chop under it,
but they're for campers. They're not for buses. And I don't know, we get sued on personnel issues, when we didn't have really anything to do with it. I don't like to get sued myself, to be named in something that I didn't have any part in. And this right here looks to me like a lawsuit ready to happen. It goes a 26-inch wheel. We running 42-inch wheels on those buses. They're not for buses.
I'm not sure this pertains to the budget, but I would like to ask
Yes.
Mr. Tyler to look into that
Well, I've already
situation.
talked with
Mr. Myrick's already looked into it.
Okay.
Yeah, and they're looking into it, but I just wanted to bring it up, that this matter right here, I mean, don't put something out there that's not supposed to, and that's paid out of money from the budget, because they get a certain amount of money there, but that bothers me because it's not rated for that.
Well,
Check it
Yeah,
out.
and
Well, what I want to say is I'm not going to sit here in a public board meeting and say that they should not have done that because I don't know. Whatever research you've done, I'm sure that, you've shared that with our counselor. I would like to talk to transportation and find out exactly why they did that instead of sitting here and basically making the indication that they were totally wrong. So I'm not going to go there.
Well, I'm not saying they're totally wrong.
well, and
they
that's
are.
why I think, having the superintendent look into the
I will.
situation and report back, maybe at our next board meeting. Would that be-
Could I have those when you go, before you go to?
No.
Yeah, okay.
Keeping that.
All right, that's fine. I'll get some others.
All right, so, were there any further comments or questions about our budget? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes.
Agenda item 1, FY 2023 Baldwin County Board of Education budget approval. Superintendent recommends adoption of a motion to approve.
Bids and
We just, oh, you did, okay, I'm sorry.
Good.
Okay. Agenda item number 2, bids proposals. Superintendent recommends adoption of a motion to approve the low bidders meeting specifications for goods and services for the system as stipulated in the agenda exhibit.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Johnson and a second by Mr. Myrick. Is there any discussion?
I just don't want Ellisville, Ellis to get the short end of the stick on this deal. Now, they're buying it, Wayne's buying it for $80,000, I saw. And, I just want it to be fair, because I work right beside them. I mean, it means something to me, for them to get it, and then they're doing the right thing by buying it, but my understanding of the law, same thing happening in Baldwin somehow. It'll have to be sold, isn't it? Yeah, well. I'm glad they got it.
I don't remember, and please, somebody correct me if I'm wrong, I don't remember the swell of support or the ask from Ellisville or those members coming up to the board and pleading their case, for lack of a better word. I mean, I think the residents of Stockton and the Vaughan communities, they came and they were like, what can we do? How can we do this? I don't ever remember, and I know I'm obviously not involved in every level of discussion, but I mean, I don't ever remember that.
Wayne went to Mr. Waters, and you probably.
Right, but we're the,
Remember,
right,
he
but
went
we're the,
through the-
but we're the board, and nobody came and was like, hey, we'd really like an opportunity to see what we can do to work on this.
When he went to Mr. Waters, this is what he told me. When he went
Sure.
to Mr. Waters, he said Mr. Waters told him, you have to bid it. We can't, donate it, we can't do that. So he waited for it to go
Bid,
to
yeah.
bid. And he said, we're gonna bid on it. He got some former, I think, Daphne football players that, in the pros, they were gonna give some money and they were gonna buy it. And, which I didn't hear anymore until I saw where they had won the bid, had gotten it. And then that Stockton deal, see, it bothered me with Mr. Sanders, they didn't even include them.
Well, I mean, that was unfortunate to hear, but I don't know that we can, I mean, that was
I don't
a,
know either, and I'm not, that's the
And I
thing,
think
but.
the consensus was, just like you're saying, that we don't have a way, even if the Ellisville people had come and said they wanted us to gift it to them, we don't have we either have to bid it, donate it to volunteer fire department, or do like we do and exchange some sort of consideration with a governmental entity. And so, I think what we're trying to work on is a way that it doesn't necessarily just go to the highest bidder and maybe can work out something for the community.
Ellisville, you know, just luckily they were the highest bidder, I guess.
Well, as I understand it, Ellisville will be handled tonight, and y'all are still working on Mr. Stevens
Right.
on that
Right.
group. So, I mean, here we go.
Well, I mean, and I'm not saying anything about it, but I'm just saying if there was any way to work it out where they could donate it to them, which I don't think it is, then table Ellisville and see if you can do the same for them. But since you can't, then,
I don't think you can legally.
but I didn't by the law, when looking at it looked like you're gonna have to bid it.
Well, Mr. Ellis is thrilled with his. I mean, he's thrilled getting the bid, right? He's very excited.
Oh, yeah, he's excited.
Well, let's go.
Out of Daphne, they ready to give
Come
them,
on.
give them the money. They're ready to roll.
Call for the vote.
There you go. We have a call for the vote. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes.
Agenda Agenda item 3, superintendent recommends adoption of a motion to approve the low bidder meeting specifications for the public works project as stipulated in the agenda exhibit.
So moved.
I have a motion by Mr. Warner and a second by Mr. Johnson. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes.
Agenda item 4, approval of resolution, AG opinion request. The superintendent recommends adoption of a motion to approve the resolution to request an attorney general's opinion as stipulated in the agenda exhibit.
So move.
A motion by Mr. Christenberry and a second by Mrs. Dawson. Is there any discussion?
Just wonder how long this would take. Any idea?
I don't know how far behind the AG is on issuing opinions, but I'll get it off within a month. You're welcome. I'm sorry I forgot to attach it the first time. I should have attached the statute, so you're welcome. I'm not perfect, dang it.
On the record.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Agenda item 5, approval of contract Baldwin County Education Coalition. Superintendent recommends adoption of a motion to approve the contract for services with Baldwin County Education Coalition for a term of 2 years for the annual amount of $80,000 to be paid from local funds as stipulated in the agenda exhibit.
Second.
A motion by Mrs. Dawson and a second by Mr. Warner. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
Motion passes.
Agenda item 6, transfer of guaranteed contribution with the Baldwin County Fire Chiefs Association. Superintendent recommends adoption of a motion to approve the contract for services and contribution agreement in a form similar to the attached in an amount of $230,000 with the Baldwin County Fire Chiefs Association as stipulated in the agenda exhibit.
So move.
A motion by Mr. Christenberry, and I'm sorry, who was the second?
Tony?
Tony. All right, Mr. Myrick. All right, is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes.
Agenda item 7, approval of contract Encore Rehabilitation, Inc. Superintendent recommends adoption of a motion to approve the amendment to the contract between Encore and Baldwin County Board of Education for athletic trainer services to our middle high schools as stipulated in the agenda exhibit.
So moved.
A motion by Mr. Myrick and a second by Mr. Johnson. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Agenda item 8, approval of contract for interpreters. Superintendent recommends adoption of a motion to approve contracts for the interpreting services to assist our students to be paid from special education federal funds as stipulated in the agenda exhibit.
So moved.
Second.
All right, who had it? Mr. Warner had
Warner.
it first, and Mr. Myrick had it second. All right. I wasn't expecting everybody at once. Is there any discussion? I know.
Good one.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Yeah. He actually did.
Agenda item 9, approval of contract for behavioral consultants, Sue Heater. Superintendent recommends adoption of a motion to approve the contract for the behavioral analysis to be paid from special education federal funds as stipulated in the agenda exhibit.
So move.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Christenberry and a second by Mr. Myrick. Is there any discussion?
I like the name. So
That is the person, right? That's not an entity. I mean, that's the lady's name.
Yeah, that's
Sue Heater.
all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Agenda item 9, agenda item 10. Approval of contract for behavioral consultants, D. Reed Bechtel. The superintendent recommends adoption of a motion to approve contracts for the behavior analysis to be paid from special education funds as stipulated in the agenda exhibit.
I have a motion by Mrs. Dawson and a second by Mr. Myrick. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
My apologies to Mr. Bechtel. Agenda item 11, contract for behavioral consultants, the core project. Superintendent recommends adoption of a motion to approve the contract for behavioral analysis to be paid from special education federal funds as stipulated in the agenda exhibit.
A motion by Mr. Myrick and a second by Mr. Johnson. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Agenda item 12, contract for MCS training. Superintendent recommends adoption of a motion to approve the contracts for the Glenwood behavior training as stipulated, trainer as stipulated in the agenda exhibit.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Myrick and a second by Mr. Christenberry. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes.
Agenda item 13, approval of contract with McGraw-Hill. Superintendent recommends adoption of a motion to approve the contract with McGraw-Hill to be paid from FY23 ESSER 2 State Reserve Funds as stipulated in the agenda exhibit.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Warner and a second by Mr. Myrick. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Agenda item 14, naming of Ivan Jones Stadium football field. Superintendent recommends adoption of a motion to approve the request to name the Ivan Jones Stadium football field Lester Smith Bud Pygott Field as stipulated in the agenda exhibit.
Second.
I have a motion by Mrs. Dawson and a second by Mr. Christenberry. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any opposed? All, motion passes.
Mr. Myrick abstained.
Abstained. Yeah, Louise, did you get to it?
Agenda item 15, leave of absence of personnel. Superintendent recommends adoption of a motion to approve the leave of absence of personnel as amended and provided to board members under separate cover.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Johnson and a second by Mr. Warner. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Agenda item 16, retirement and resignation of personnel. Superintendent recommends adoption of a motion to approve the retirement and resignation of personnel as amended and provided to board members under separate cover.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Myrick and a second by Mr. Christenberry. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Agenda item 17, transfer intent to transfer personnel. Superintendent recommends adoption of a motion to approve the transfer intent to transfer of personnel as amended and provided to board members under separate cover.
So moved.
Motion by Mr. Warner and a second by Mrs. Dawson. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? No. Motion passes.
Agenda item 18, rescission of employment of personnel. Superintendent recommends adoption of a motion to approve to rescind the employment of personnel as provided to board members under separate cover.
So moved.
I have a motion by Mr. Christenberry and a second by Mrs. Dawson. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Agenda item 19, employment of personnel. Superintendent recommends adoption of a motion to approve the employment of personnel as amended and provided to board members under separate cover.
A motion by Mr. Myrick and a second by Mr. Johnson. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Agenda item 19, agenda item 20, extra work for extended periods. Superintendent recommends adoption of a motion to approve the extra worker personnel as amended and provided to board members under separate cover.
Motion by Mr. Myrick and a second by Mr. Johnson. Is there any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Agenda item 21, administrative appointment. Superintendent recommends adoption of a motion to approve the administrative appointment as provided to board members under separate cover.
Second.
The motion by Mr. Myrick and a second by Mr. Warner. Is there any discussion? Favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
I do want to congratulate Joe Sharp, our newest member of senior staff, as our assistant superintendent. I think he's got a lot to offer. Very excited about his addition. That's all I have. That's all I have, Ms. Collins.
And that should be everything unless the board has a question or comment about anything. Tomorrow morning is the superintendent breakfast.
Yes, ma'am. 8:30.
30.
We have a new chef that's come on board, that's been approved and hired, and hear good things about her. So we're very excited. Yeah, that's what it says. It says come and come and eat and socialize. And, yes, sir.
Can I just say, from, as part of the fire departments in Baldwin County, we are so proud to be partnering with y'all. It's so excited about all the kids that we're gonna reach with this trailer. You just probably don't understand how much this trailer is gonna do to reach the kids and what we can do to it, or do with it for our kids. And we just appreciate it, so much. It really makes us proud. We're very excited. And, we look forward to, we've already talked about it's gonna be wrapped. We'd like to put sponsored Baldwin County boards,
Thank you.
seal on there if you guys will allow us on.
Thank you.
some
Yes.
side. And we wanna make sure everybody knows that y'all partner with us, that we're excited about it.
Well, I think we feel your excitement, and that just excites us even more. And this very gracious board here, and they see that it's the right thing to do and to benefit our children and our community. So thank you.
It's an honor.
Thank you.
Will we still get the red fireman's hat? I just want to make sure that.
I'll be honest, I would love to, bring it up to one of the events or something that you got once we get it. Like I said, it's about 9 days or so before we get it, and get people trained on it. But we would love to bring it up to either a board meeting or a workshop.
That's a good idea.
We might could bring it to a superintendent Friday breakfast.
Hey,
Oh, that's a good idea.
Once we get it, we'll be in contact and we'll make sure we bring it up here.
Well, thank you. Thank you for your service.
thank you so much.
Thanks.
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
That's all right. I'd like to thank you, and I'm so glad to see this partnership because I am someone who has benefited from the training that you did. This past June, a year ago, my granddaughter and her husband and 3 of my great-grandchildren's home caught fire at 2 o'clock in the morning and burned completely to the ground. And they barely got out with their lives. And the child that was in 2nd grade was, kept saying, "This is what we need to do." So it was wonderful.
I'm excited because it's gonna we're gonna be able to teach fire extinguishers, like we're gonna have there's a fire extinguisher to it, so they'll be able to squirt an actual fire extinguisher. I mean, there's a lot of cool stuff.
I want to do that.
I think it's just gonna elevate what we already do to the community. We're excited about getting it out to the schools.
Thank you.
Happy to do it. Thank you.
Bring it to breakfast. So as a member of the community, I can come and,
That's right.
and participate.
We can take pictures.
All right, board, I need a motion to adjourn.
So move.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for being here, and safe travels home.